This is a CBC podcast.
The discovery of the remains of 215 children on the grounds of a former Kamloops residential school has opened deep wounds in this country. This time, leaders in Indigenous communities want an apology from the top, from the Pope himself. Now, that hasn't happened. But on the local level, something did happen this weekend. When parishioners arrived for Mass at St. Teresa's Roman Catholic Church on Sunday, they found a memorial. The altar was covered in teddy bears, children's shoes. In the middle, orange signs reading, "Every child matters." Father Tony Bidgood's homily that day was important, and he joins us now to share more. Good morning, Father Bidgood.
Good morning, Chrissy.
So how did this memorial come together in your church?
Well, it was actually the idea of a parishioner. He contacted us last week and suggested that we do a memorial. We were trying to, like everybody, think about how to respond to this, and we thought it was a brilliant idea. So the credit goes to a parishioner.
There were a lot of stuffed teddy bears, shoes. Where did all those pieces come from?
What we did was we invited people who were going to come to the two services, the two masses we have on the weekend, to, if they wanted to bring a pair of shoes or a stuffed teddy bear or a toy and place them in the sanctuary. And so the parishioners responded. Some came and brought their own from their children or their grandchildren. And a lot of people went out and bought new shoes or new toys and have left them behind to be donated.
What have you been hearing from people in your parish about what's happened here?
Well, we've been hearing an awful lot through phone calls and text messages and Facebook message and emails. You know, everybody is shocked. Everybody is feeling a deep sense of shame. There's a tremendous amount of pain and reckoning that is going on right now. And people are just grappling with how could their church, how could representatives of their religion do this? And, what does it mean? What does it mean for their faith? What does it mean for the church? What does it mean for our Indigenous brothers and sisters? And how do we move forward now? And so there's a tremendous amount of emotion right now surrounding the discovery in Kamloops, and understandably so.
You said a lot inside your homily on Sunday, and acknowledged a lot as well. Tell us a little bit about what was important for you to include in that.
Well, it was important for me to respond to people's feelings and emotions, and to respond to my own as well, to try and, I suppose, echo what I was hearing and what people were feeling, what I was feeling, what the other priests who are working here are feeling, to make an apology, to say that, to call upon the Pope and the bishops of Canada to apologize. Many bishops already have, but to apologize again. And of course, the Pope is not yet. And so to make that call, and also to acknowledge the pain and the suffering that the church has caused, not only to Indigenous people, but to many different groups of people who have been abused, hurt, marginalized in countless ways by this church. One
of the statements that you shared inside that homily, which I watched online, by the way, was interesting because it was an apology that you acknowledged that resonated with you, a statement from a bishop out west. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
So that statement was issued by Archbishop Michael Miller. He's the Archbishop of Vancouver. And he wrote a letter in response, as did numerous other bishops across Canada over the past course of the week, in which he once again reiterated, as I understand it, an apology that he made back during when the Truth and Reconciliation Commission was on, or maybe even earlier than that, I forget. And he kind of captured the moment. His words were poignant, and I think it was just important to quote him and to remind people that there is a response. And I suppose in some ways his words, he said it probably better than I could have, and so that's why I included it.
One of the quotes that was in that was, "The church was unquestionably wrong."
Mm-hmm. That's true. Yeah.
What was it like for you as a Roman Catholic priest to stand up and say something about this, just to speak out about this?
Well, it was very difficult, primarily because of the deep sense of shame that I feel belonging to an institution that has done this. In addition to that, just the ongoing terrible saga of sexual abuse and other forms of marginalization and alienation to people. And so, as I said, just a sense of shame and just, I suppose, just the immense tragedy of the images, or the mental picture of 215 children who didn't have a dignified burial in terms of being acknowledged for who they were as persons, their families being notified. The pain of it is really overwhelming.
How did your parishioners respond to the words that you shared on Sunday?
The response has been positive, if I can use that word. I think a lot of people feel that what not only what I was said, but what the parish did helped to at least give an expression to it. And so there's been a lot of affirmations of that what was said needed to be said, and what was done needed to be done. The image of parishioners coming to the church clutching toys and shoes is one that was very poignant and, brings a tear to your eye, that people wanted to respond, that a faith community wanted to respond. And so my hat goes off to our parishioners for really meeting this moment and sharing in this and so willingly and wanting to, in a ritualistic way, participate in a way that where words fail, actions do speak quite loudly.
What is your message to all of those people that are out there right now that are really struggling to process the church's role in all of this?
My message is, I guess, that we need to talk about it. We need to express our feelings. We need to express our emotions. We need to address it. We need to listen to the stories that are coming out from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and are now coming out again in light of what's happened in Kamloops. And the only way that I think, as a society, let alone as an institution of a church, are going to be held accountable and to move forward, and in the spirit of the Indigenous people, say, let's talk about our truth and let's find a path to reconciliation, is we have to listen. We have to listen to these stories. We have to share our feelings. We have to share our emotions. We have to call and advocate for justice and for apologies, and to be engaged and to speak out. That's the only way forward, I think.
Father Bidgood, you mentioned this is the church is dealing, I guess, with a lot of issues right now. For you personally, where do you find your faith to get through this and to be a leader at this time?
Well, I don't know how much of a leader I am, but I go back to the response of the people. That was very inspiring for me to. There's so much suffering right now, and one can easily say that there's a lot of evil in the world and a lot of evil at work in our institutions. But to see people respond when an invitation was made, to see a parishioner say, "Let's do this," I'm greatly encouraged by the love in people's hearts, the faith in people's hearts to try to do something. And to respond. I mean, there's a lot of good people out there, and that's what gives me hope and inspires me.
Thank you so much for your time, Father Bidgood.
You're more than welcome. It's nice to be with you.
That was Father Tony Bidgood from St. Teresa's Parish in St. John's.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.